Tonight, the A Square drivers will be taking left turns and right turns here in Charlotte at the Charlotte Roval for the Charlotte 220, presented by 7 Bar Barbecue. My name is Kevin Young, bringing the action here again this week. As we're getting closer and closer after tonight, you will know the 8 drivers that will be fighting for a championship after we cut the playoff field from 12 down to 8. And we'll get through all that information in just a little bit here, but you join us live through qualifying. So we pull up the little ticker here to show you. Right now, fastest car on track is John Hagan. So he is our current pole sitter, and it's Gaiman, Feather Place, Wanzing, and this man, Ross Baxter, who currently sits 5th as he's about to finish his second run here. We'll see if he can maybe put down a lap here to maybe jump himself up a little bit further here. So as he comes to the last couple corners, comes across the line, and he will not improve, as I've had the wrong camera on, but he will not improve as he will head off into Heartbreak Turn and take it back to the pit lane. So while we have this second, we'll actually ride on board with, try to find someone that's actually taking some laps here. We got Brian Johnson. We'll use him as our cutaway car here. So we'll let him give us kind of a basic layout of the Roval if you are new and do not fully know what this layout looks like. I think a lot of people in iRacing have used this circuit one way or the other, as it is one of the free tracks that's provided and used from MX-5s to street cars to anything in between. Pretty much uses variation. So it's a good kind of view here to show you what it looks like as we see Brian Johnson going around the track right now as he puts down some laps. As you can see, he goes to the little infield section, then we'll come out to where the original turn is here. Turn 1 and 2. Obviously, Brian Johnson, one of the few drivers taking this extra time here, qualifying after putting down his 2 laps. Take a little extra practice, as that can always be beneficial. When he's not in the playoffs, if you want to get a good run, especially on road courses, try to capitalize when other drivers are having mistakes. See coming out for the 3 and 4 after going through the little chicane. He's got one more corner to go, this little bus stop here. Obviously, for those eagle-eye viewers can remember Jimmy Johnson and Mark Truex Jr. having the little collision here back in 2017. Or 2018, I should say. And as he comes off the last corner, comes across the line, and that is pretty much 1 lap around the Charlotte Roval. And with a minute to go, he can technically complete 1 more lap as long as he keeps it on the track. But that should be that, and it looks like he's just making sure he doesn't end up making an unnecessary trip into the wall. So everyone has pretty much finished their qualifying laps, as there is no real chance for anyone to put down another lap within the remaining time window. 3 cars have either not put down valid times or have not elected to qualify. Dale Markowski, Edward Marshall, Josh Battles. All 3 of those drivers are playoff drivers. So it'll be interesting to see Battles that don't think elected to take a lap. Marshall and Markowski both had a little bit of trouble. And this is where, obviously looking at last week, we were talking at the track they were at, which I believe was Kansas? Obviously, it's been a long week, so sometimes tracks, when you get back-to-back similar tracks, it can sometimes fall into a vein. It was Iowa, just double-checking right now. So after Iowa last week, and if you don't want to be spoiled in the results, it was a very interesting finish, as we saw some playoff drivers struggle and have early wrecks, and when it came down to the push and shove of it, we ended up seeing Matt Fordon beating Seth Wanzing in a fuel mileage race, as they were able to make it on 1 less stop than the rest of the field. So Matt Fordon now locked going into the next round, while the other drivers will have to fight it out as they fight through the playoffs here. So as Johnson comes down pit lane here, he's pretty much the only active car on track, so it looks like that will end qualifying. We will head on to warm-up here. So Hagan, Gaiman, Feather Place, Wanzing, Baxter, your top 5 as we head on to warm-up. So drivers will have 5 minutes here to get situated with the track again and have a quick moment to practice here. We do have to go over the points here, and obviously we're in a bit of a tight spot here because, to pull the curtain behind for a second here, obviously coming into this week, Ryan has been obviously dealing with the new girl dad life, and he is the one that does the points for the series. So right now we don't fully have updated points per se. So we're going to pull up the old points here that heading into Iowa last week. They give us kind of a clue who's in the field at the moment. Obviously, it's everyone above the red line. Looking in the last week, obviously Patrick Oberstadt wasn't here, so theoretically, and he's not here tonight. So we can assume he is not going to make it to the round of 8. So we can throw his name out, giving us now 11 spots, 8 spots for 11 drivers. And looking at the field tonight, with Markowski, Hagen, Wansing, Vordon, Featherplace, Fleming, Gaiman, Marshall, Battles, and Blake Galloway all in the playoffs here. That means another driver isn't on this list. Mike LaJoy isn't here as well, so he will presumably also be out in the outside looking in. So that will give us 10 drivers left fighting over 8 spots. And knowing last week we saw a couple drivers like Markowski have a deconnection and Josh Gaiman also having an early crash out, we know presumably they'll be behind the ball a little bit. Now obviously we don't fully know the numbers. Only thing we can pretty much confirm is Matt Vordon is locked in, and it's a good chance that anyone that finished last week or finished well, so Seth Wansing, Brandon Featherplace, John Hagen come to mind on this list, Edward Marshall I believe as well, they should be okay to make it to the next round. But obviously we don't really have full information, full numbers. If we do find that out for the end of the night's broadcast, we will go on through, but we just do not have those points right now, which kind of stinks, but understandably so, as again, with El Presidente right now having girl dad duties and dealing with obviously a newborn, it can be quite taxing to say the least, as he's the one that does all the points for the series, and a lot of series too. So we'll get you an update when we can, and we'll find out some information. But right now, obviously, we know at the very least there's 10 playoff drivers here, so most likely LaJoy and Oberstadt are out, meaning there's still 2 more people that have to be thrown out in order to make the round of 8. And we also know that Matt Vordon is locked in with his win last week. So with 2 minutes to go here, obviously we'll also pull up the calendar too, as we pulled this up the last couple of weeks. We'll pull it up again. You can see after tonight we're in the round of 8. New Hampshire and Las Vegas are the cutoff rounds for the round of 8, with Las Vegas, after they go gambling in the Sin City, we decide the Final 4 fighting for a championship by August 24th. So obviously right now drivers taking a chance to practice under pit lane. Obviously we've seen throughout the A² calendar per se. Obviously the 50% fuel capacities, you will at least see 2 green flag pit stops. Is usually on the cards. However, we have seen changes and we have seen things, but it's safe to assume we'll have 2 green flag pit stops, one in the second stage and one in the final stage, if not 2, depending on how the fuel run goes. The driver's taking that extra time to practice. Here's Seth Wansing, who obviously was a bit dejected after last week, but being a 2-time champion, he still has that hunger. Definitely someone to keep an eye out for here, as he's one of those sneaky fast drivers on a road course. Wouldn't be the first driver you have penned up, as we see Wansing actually go for a little spin. Wouldn't be the first driver you would say has the best chances, but you definitely put him in the top 5 of drivers to keep an eye out for on a road course. Brian Johnson just set the fast lap of the race, so practice session, I should say. Obviously, he's one of the only few drivers to put down an active time, so it's a bit of an asterisk, as most drivers elected to take practice times and come down pit lane. But still, top of the charts is top of the charts, and no one can take that away from you. Seth Wansing obviously just finished his run here, obviously invalidated with that spin, so he will not be able to put down a lap. So unless McDonough gets around here in 30 seconds to put down a time, Brian Johnson's going to top this warm-up session here before we head to the main race, which again, bit of an asterisk because no one else put down a time, but it's still a confidence booster that you could say your name's at the top of the charts. So we'll keep an eye on McDonough here as he's coming through the last couple corners. I don't think he's going to make it. So Brian Johnson will be the fastest car through warm-up as we head on to the main race. So for those just tuning in, thank you for coming in. You've just came in just in time for the Charlotte 220 presented by 7 Bar Barbecue at Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, USA. The home for one of the homes in NASCAR, but a lot of the real-life teams end up making this a home race for them as they have their tracks here. But obviously for the virtual drivers here, obviously their allegiances aren't as much the same, as some drivers do consider this home, including, I think, John Hagan, as you see the Carolina blue paint scheme he always runs for the North Carolina Tar Heels. So we'll see who will find success here tonight. But we'll take a look here at the starting lineup and the grid and where they will all fire off. John Hagan will fire off in position number 1 with Josh Gaiman, a driver that I don't know if he's in a must-win, but at the very least needs a great finish here tonight. He's going to put himself nicely. They'll be in row number 1. Row 2, Brandon Featherplay, Seth Wansing, after their results last week, should be good to go to the round of 8, but don't want to take anything for granted. They'll be in row 2. Row 3, Ross Baxter and Matthew Kent. They'll make up row number 3 here. Row number 4, as I just want to show the cars coming off the track here. Row number 4, Matt Vordon, Kevin Feemster. Obviously, Vordon locked in with his win last week. Feemster, the outside him in row 4, has a great last couple weeks. Row number 5, Mark Dila and Colin McDonough. They'll be in row number 5. Row number 6, Blake Galway, Chris Fleming. Another playoff row here, as they'll be in row 6. Row 7, Brian Johnson and Edward Marshall. They'll make row 7. Row number 8, Dale Markowski, Josh Battle, the Black Acid teammates. And that will actually be that, as they are the last of the field here. That's actually the wrong button. See if we get a nice little scenic shot there. There we go, as we'll show the cars going through the little the infield section here. All 15 cars, 15 out of 16 cars have made it to the grid. Only Brian Johnson is not, and I think Brian Johnson, at the moment, still doesn't spawn to the track. I would assume he's going to try to take a delayed start here, as we did see him practicing around. But obviously, hopefully he does hit the field grid here, but I think he's taking his chances and wants to start in the pit lane just to avoid anything major happening. Well, we do have the second as well. We'll go over the information for tonight's race. Find the right tab. There we go. Obviously, we have stages at 10 and 25. So it's going to be a short run for the first stage and a little longer in stage number 2. It's a 55-lap race. They'll have 5 sets of tires, even though tires usually aren't a premium here at the Roval. They have 50% fuel capacities, no fast repairs, so if the driver makes a horrible mistake, they could be out in the cold. Other than that, though, 3 green-white checkered attempts, if needed, which, again, cautions are not usually a premium around these road courses, so it's more than likely we will not see that happen here, at least a caution, unless we see a big track blocker. Lastly, as I usually do say, every time we come here and every race we do, first restart is on green. Every initial restart after that is going to be on leader's discretion. So with that, though, I think we're ready to get this show underway here as these drivers get ready for 55 laps at the Charlotte Roval. Who will have a seat on the train to go to round of 8'sville? Who will be left out in the cold? We'll find out after 55 laps. Pace car gonna pull on in, and we are gonna let's get this thing rolling. Green flag is out, and away we go for the Charlotte 220. coming through the last corner here. Hagen had a pretty good lead, but made a mistake in the bus stop. However, he will still take the first lap here. Gaiman, Feather Place, Wanzing will be your top four. We did see Wanzing get a little bit of a run here. Thought everyone's pretty much survived the first lap here without any major damage to report of. Now, speaking of that, looks like Kevin Feemster did have a little self-spin. He is okay in his machine. Everyone else, though, has kept it relatively clean and forward. So we'll go back to third place here between Brandon Feather Place and Seth Wanzing, as they are battling right now for the last podium spot. So right now it's about getting a good run, setting yourself up nicely, trying to set up the corners here, as road courses are very about building moves and making things happen. Right now we see Wanzing get a good run here. Really side by side. He will get ahead of Feather Place. Feather Place is going to play it smart here, knowing a wrecked race car could put him in a spot where he may miss the round of 8. So he's just going to play it smart, not overcook the car, and make sure he brings it home nicely there and falls back to 4th. Heading back to the lead, we see Gaiman putting the pressure on John Hagen. Again, Gaiman, not fully knowing his picture, knows with his poor result last week at Iowa, this is either a must-win or near a must-win to ensure he gets himself in the field. And with such a lower car count than we see at the ovals, it's less points that drivers that he is battling, like Markowski, Battles, Galloway, for example, less points overall they could lose, and in turn makes the gaps that much closer. We see the battles rage on here as they keep it relatively close between the two of them. Fastest lap last time by Hagen, but both him and Gaiman relatively close throughout their times. A little bit further back, look at the last spot here in 8th and 9th. McDonough has slowly reeled in Edward Marshall. Marshall sits in 8th, McDonough starts in 9th. Gaps separating here. We're going to jump around when we see battle to battle. Further back, we see right there Feemster get around Josh Battles. So Feemster, in his Mama Ducks machine, is able to gain a spot here. Further back, I think Wanzing, since he's about half a second, right now, gap relatively close between him and Feather Place. So we are just going to kind of jump around here. It is the nature of road course racing. His separation will happen, and we see drivers begin to pull away and make intervals kind of play out here. Ooh, looks like we have a slight mistake there. Looks like not Fleming make the corner, but I think that's Blake Galloway. Looks like he overcooked the corner by a lot. And you can see the effects that has had. He's going to have to give up all that time, so make a mistake in the bus up like that, it's going to cost him time. Oh, deal! Looks like he's trying to follow suit. And he's ended up hitting that inside wall. See how bad the car looks. Oh, he'll give another scratch to the rear, try to make it symmetric. But looks like he will continue on, so the damage did not break anything. But obviously, always hurts your confidence when you have a little self-spin. Further up, Matt Verdon, who's already locked in, and already looks like he's hit something. As you can see, that front end a little bit crinkled, to say the least, in comparison to what we usually see. So it looks like he got in contact with someone or something. For comparison, if we look at the car behind him, Edward Marshall, see, that's what a Chevy body looks like. And if we look at John Hagen here for a second, if we ever get a good front look, you can see, yeah, that's outruding. And then we look at, the 00, that's intruding. So obviously not sure what he hit. Obviously he's not lost any time. So whatever he's hit, may have came off the restart here. If I had to guess, it may have been involved in Feemster crash. Right now he is getting caught by Edward Marshall here. But obviously that damage could affect the downforce of the machine getting in the corners, but right now, looks like Verdon is dealing with it quite well. So when we got this low, we'll take a look back at what happened to Kevin Feemster here. Obviously, the incident he had, I'm going to guess, is where Verdon gets his damage. So that's why we're heading back here to look. Going into the bus stop. Oh! Looks like Verdon got a little overcorrected. Gives a little shunt to Feemster, and that gives him his front end damage. The next one's why Feemster fell all the way back to last car on the grid for the end of lap number 1 Luckily, it's for Feemster. Very minor damage. However, we'll lose a lot of track position. But at least on the bright side, he'll have a stage caution or two to get caught back up. As we see right now, the battle for 6 raging on. Is Marshall going to get a good run on the slightly wounded machine of Vordon? We do see our first pit stop of the race. As we do see, as we'll pull up the pit road driver right now. That's the wrong graphic. Pit road right now, you'll see that the 22 machine of Ross Baxter's in pit lane. He has a lengthy repair going on here, so I thought it was possible to schedule, but this clock is hitting well over 25 seconds. We'll go peek in on here. Car looks okay. But yeah, it looks like he may have gotten a penalty or a black flag or something as he's currently stationary in pit lane. So lap 6 complete. We'll keep an eye on Baxter and see what exactly happened. Hagan is now open about a 1.5 second gap on Josh Gaiman. Gaiman now sits in second. He's about 2 seconds clear of Wansing, who's about 1.5 seconds clear of Brandon Featherplace. And Matthew Kent sits in 5th, pretty much on an island, 5 seconds behind Featherplace, 10 seconds ahead of Edward Marshall. Further back, we see right now a battle between 2 playoff drivers. Right now for the last stage point, Markowski currently occupies that last point. Galloway is currently sitting in 11th. 2 playoff drivers that are currently outside the top 10 would be at the moment poised to not get any stage points. So see right now, you can see Galloway was struggling a little bit, and this is where I said this is the great kind of equalizer in a sense, because we've seen it time and time again where some of these drivers very good at ovals, but maybe struggling a little bit coming to road courses. And with being the cutoff line, unlike last couple of years when the road course race wasn't the cutoff race, with this now being the cutoff race, it has the added benefit, if you will, that if you end up making a mistake or if you're not that strong road course, you have to make sure you do good at Iowa, unlike in previous years where we've seen the road course happen and then the drivers had one more oval to try to make it up. So it's about hanging on to make sure you can survive the bucking Bronco if going right, like myself, isn't the most favorable thing in the world for you. So it's like Markowski has survived this challenge here. We'll head a little bit further up, back to Matt Vordon, whose damage is definitely hurting him a little bit as he's now fallen into the clutches of Colin McDonough here. Good news for at least Vordon is that the stage caution comes out in 3 laps, so if he can hang on to this machine for a couple more laps, he'll be able to get to the stage break and try to fix this ailing machine here. But luckily, with that win in his back pocket, he's already on to the next round. He's the only driver that really isn't in limbo at the moment. He knows he'll be fighting for a championship starting next week. And it's just going to come down to how he finishes here to see if he can get any extra bonus points or anything in between. Now gets a little bit of separation here. We'll keep an eye on this battle, but we're going to go a little bit further back. Dale Markowski ended up getting passed by Galloway while we were kind of watching that. So we assume Markowski was pulling away, and it looks like he may have made a slight mistake here. Now Galloway is going to have the reach on him. So while we have this little second, we are getting some information about what happened to Ross Baxter. So we'll take a look, because obviously this was possibly terminal damage, even though the car looked relatively okay. So we're going back to see what happened to Ross Baxter. He's still in the pit lane. Ooh, he hits the outside wall, and then it just goes straight on. Oh. Very odd crash, and obviously we'll listen in again, just take a look here and see what exactly happened. So we'll play it from his POV this time. Obviously, he was in 6th position at the time of this incident a couple laps ago. Oh, looks like something deconnected, as you can just see full power goes out. So whatever happened to Baxter, it looks like it's just the wheel disconnected or something, and that caused him to go straight on into the Coca-Cola sign. And right now, he is still on pit lane with well over 5 minutes on the clock right now, so his day is effectively done. Back up to our race leader, John Hagan. Right now on the final lap of the stage. So once it hit lap 10, stage will officially end once all 10 cars pass. So with the gap being over 40 seconds, it's pretty much going to be about a half a lap here in comparison, as Galloway right now is about to cross start-finish line, but he'll have a mistake, and he could have easily just threw away a stage points because of that. Markowski going to get through. Same thing with Feemster, now going to be on the cuff of Blake Galloway and the Purple Machines. Keep an eye on this as this is shaping up. We'll see if Galloway can keep it back under pressure. We also want to make sure we don't see Hagan miss coming across the line to end the stage. So we're going to cut back here at Hagan as he comes to the last couple corners. This should theoretically end the stage, unless my lap counter is slightly off. So he comes across the line, officially starts lap number 10, I believe. So we have to wait for everyone to cross the stage, but Hagan has won this stage. Theoretically, Gaiman will come home in second. Wanzing will come home in third. Feather Place will come home in fourth. Kent will come fifth. Edward Marshall will come home sixth here. We do have a bit of a battle here. Is Galloway going to miss the bus stop again? He's going to have to give it more time here. So Marshall, Vordon, McDonough will call across the lines. And theoretically, if the stage laps are correct, Markowski should come across the line here this time by... Oh, Galloway may have just got sent. He's going to cut it through the grass here. And yep, stage will officially end with that. So we'll take a quick look at the results here, then take a look back to see what happened with Galloway and Feemster, if there was contact or if Galloway just slid it under braking. So here's the results for stage number 1. Hagan will take victory. Gaiman in second. Wanzing in third. Feather Place in fourth. Matt Kent in fifth. Says Marshall is in 7th, which is technically supposed to be where he is right now, and Vordon 6th. McDonough 8th, Fleming 9th, and Dale Markowski will get the last stage point, with Galloway and Battles being the two playoff drivers that end up missing out. So as the field gets bunched up here, will be another quick lap of pacing. We're going to take a quick look at that last incident between Galloway and Feemster, as they did end up coming to contact here. So obviously this is right now Kevin Feemster. A little bit further back on the incident question. See, getting a good run here on Galloway. Oh, very odd incident. Either Galloway was playing it conservative and just tried to get in that corner out, wrecking it, and the speed differential caught out Feemster, or Feemster just missed the braking line. Regardless, both cars look relatively okay in comparison. We'll take another quick look. Right on board here with Kevin Feemster. Oh, yeah, that speed differential kind of catches you off on that transition. It's very hard to get on the brakes. Both cars end up coming to blows there. So back to live action. Field's going to get caught up here. We're going to take just one quick break here. I do see some technical difficulties, so do not go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a second. I just want to see if we can get one thing fixed here. So when we come back, we'll see Pit Stops live, so do not go anywhere. A Squared live at the Charlotte 220. We'll be back in just a moment. We are officially back here just in time for pit stops. What I was noticing is when we try to come in here live earlier, we were having some slight technical difficulties with iRacing, where it was struggling to go full screen. So it looks like that may be the reason why we're having some slight choppiness. And obviously the only way to really fully fix that would be to reset iRacing, which obviously we won't be fully able to do here. So we're just going to kind of have to deal with it. Obviously we'll try to keep the wide angles, but if you see some choppiness, we do apologize here at ABN. As it just was a very weird situation that played out before the stream went live. So pit lane open, everyone coming in except for one. F. Wanzing going to elect to roll the dice here. He is going to get 1 bonus point here for leading this lap. So obviously I don't think that is his method for staying out, but a very odd call for Wanzing. Feels like he knows something that we don't. He'll come across the line and lead a lap. Now back to pit lane. This is a situation where obviously most drivers aren't going to take 4 tires here, at least on this first pit stop. Safe to assume, I assume most are going to elect to just take fuel only. I say that, but then we see the jack go up both Hagen and Gaiman. Featherplace will take fuel only, so he is now away. He'll come out second. 4 tires for both Gaiman and Hagen. Virgil Cruz will pull him out 3 and 4, so obviously it looks like I was a bit wrong there, like a McCover, if you will, from the old Fox broadcast. Everyone else will take 4 tires and fuel here, will not elect to roll the dice. Obviously, probably will take fuel only when it comes to their pit stop window under green, which we assume will happen. But as you can see, right now, Wanzing and Featherplace will be 1-2. Everyone else pretty much comes off pit lane in the same order they came in. Galloway will leave out. Dila, Johnson, and looks like Marshall are electing to fix up some damage here. So they are still on pit lane at the moment. Obviously, Marshall is a playoff driver, so this can have ramifications if he can't get this car fully going here in that number 16. He's now away after over 57 seconds. Dila and Johnson still stationary on pit lane. We'll see if they can meet the 10 count. Obviously, they've still got plenty of time with the advantages of being a road course. Obviously, with it being long pace laps, there's situations like this where there's really no effect. You can stay in pit lane a lot longer without the under caution, without the risk of going a lap down. As right now, obviously, believe they're not even at the bus stop yet. But they're coming down to the front stretch, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, they're coming down the back stretch like I assume they were. So obviously still plenty of time for Dila and Johnson to get their cars up and snuff, as they got probably another good 30 seconds to a minute before they would be at risk of going a lap down. We should see the 1 to go this time by on the pace car, as it's usually probably won't see an extra lap as no cars that go a lap down that are still running. So there's no real risk for us to see a car need to get the wave around here. So Swans and drift up a little bit to the pace car here. Just have a little bit of fun. Still just waiting it out here, as we should see the 1 to go this time by. Yep, lights on the pace car, so we will go 1 to go this time by. It'll be Wanzing and Featherplace, row 1, Hagen, Gaiman, row 2, Fleming, Kent, row 3, Markowski, McDonough, row 4, Feemster, Vordon, your first 5 rows. And for those at home, both Dila and Johnson were able to meet the 10 count and came out of pit lane without going a lap down. So as I head through the front stretch here, as we're going to get ready to go green here. Once again, drifting up to the pace car. This is, again, the one that kind of stinks at road course, pace car being so slow. When you get these kind of long runs, you kind of just sitting waiting for the action to pick back up. calm before the storm, if you will. So obviously we still have to go to the bus stop here. When they do go green, Wanzing will have control. We'll see if he can make it work on no fresh tires. Same thing with Feather Place as well. Both of them on the same tires they started the race on. Everyone else behind on 4 fresh tires. So his pace car gets ready to pull on off. Look at the second stage underway. Green flag is out, and away we go to start stage number 2. Oh, John Hagen is around. If we ever can get a car on him, we'll see him right there. He's got it spun. He's still stationary. Away he will go. We'll see if he has any damage to that machine. What exactly happened there? But Hagen going to have to come a long way out. Luckily, again, he'll have the saving grace of it being stage caution at 25. But that is still a very interesting situation that's played out that has caught Hagen napping. Further up, we'll go take a look at it in just a second. We'll let this lap play out here, make sure nothing else crazy occurs. Now we see Galloway for Don. Fiends are just up the road battling Markowski. This is for 5th and 6th. Up front, Seth Wanzing still holding down the fort with Feather Place Game in 3-4. Galloway with aggressive lunge, overcooking the corner almost, but he made it stick for a moment. Then the car will kick out. Stationary battles, gonna clip the wall, trying to get around him. Maybe a bit of an unsafe go there, but regardless, he will go on ahead. Everyone else will get around him, and Seth Wanzing will lead the opening lap of stage 2. So let's take a quick look, see what exactly happened there with John Hagen. Did he get help, or did he just get lost, lose it on his own? Looks like Matthew Kent also got caught out in cold tires there as well. Oh, yeah, just kicked. Gaiman ended up colliding with him, so we'll see if Gaiman has any major damage from that incident. It just looks like he just kind of lost on his own going into that corner. We'll take a second look before we look at the incident really fast, what happened to Matthew Kent. Yeah, cold tires caught him out going through the bus stop here. Luckily locks it down for anything crazy happens. You can see going, we'll take one more look, this time by focusing on Hagen again, this time from Gaiman's perspective. We do wonder if cold tires really were the cause of this incident here. Yeah, just kicks on Hagen. Gaiman ends up sending him around here. Again, with that little scrunch, we do wonder, did he get any major incident damages from that could affect this car's performance? Back to live action we go. Wanzing now leading the way again, like we last left him. Feather Place in second, but under pressure from Gaiman. And this could be just what Gaiman ordered here. Again, not fully knowing his picture, if he can get stage points here and get a max 10 and a 9 from the previous stage, or even 8, it's going to help him out and try to close that gap and the deficit he had leaving Iowa. Hounds the back of the 34 here. He does have fresh tires too, so he should theoretically have better grip in comparison to the cars around him here. But like I said, it's about making your lines, building your corner entries and exits, make sure you get the best exit speeds, and then try to run off the exit here to make a move happen here. Feather Play's going to go defensive line. question is, how aggressive do you want to be here, especially knowing it's a tightrope thin between Wanzing and Feather Place. Unlike Wanzing and Feather Place, they can throw it away without maybe too much repercussions. But if Gaiman crashes out, his season ends. Just going to hang the back here, try to find the line. Wanzing will lead that lap again. Like I said, with stage ending at 25, it is a short run to the stage 2 glory here. So you've got to be cautious and competitively close, if you will, to make sure you don't end up wrecking it. See if Feather Place get a little bit of separation. So we're going to go back a little bit. We're going to focus on another battle here. Big battle here is Hagen. We saw him spin on lap 1, but we know he's got a fast machine on that 1. He's already gotten around Feemster. Now going to try to set him size up in this battle here for 6th and 5th with Markowski and Kent here. Just like that, as smooth as you like. Hagen going to get around here. Just put Hagen down to 6, going to try to get a run on Gaiman. Can be one of those drivers that's known to be very, not aggressive, but very hard to get around. But with line placement as much as he can do, Hagen going to make the moves. Now Hagen up to 5th, Kent now down to 6th. We'll actually head back that battle we were just keeping an eye on, as Feem's just putting the pressure here on Markowski for 7th. Smooth as you like, there you go. Feemster going to get around, so now put Feemster up to 7th. Markowski now under pressure here from Marshall. Youngstown driver just hoping for the bleeding to stop here. Again, just really, I think Markowski is trying to hang on to this bucking Bronco. Again, knowing points matter more than wrecking it. Sometimes it's better to live the fight another day than end up possibly getting in an encounter where you may end up spinning the car. Back up front, we're getting a little bit closer here between the battles. Feather Place, Wanzing, Gaiman, still all under a blanket. We saw Wanzing pull a little bit of separation. That time by Gaiman was the fastest car behind the track by over a second to Wanzing and about half a second to Feather Place. So Gaiman flexing his muscle here, also the fastest car on the track, period, that last time by. Obviously, the last time he tried to make a move, just couldn't fully get it around Feather Place. We'll see if he can get it going here again. This lap's ticking away, and next time by, we'll have 5 to go in stage number 2. There is one more thing we do have to consider as well, as these laps do tick closer and closer by. Does anyone try to short pit here, pit wall before the pit lane closes on lap 23, and forego possible getting max stage points, or to set themselves up nicely for the final stage? Five to go in stage number 2 here. Wanzing, Feather Place, Gaiman all under a blanket. Heading a little bit further back, Vordon has overcooked the corner. He's about to report that Hagen able to get around him. Now we see Vordon under pressure. Got that front nose fully fixed, so car should be back or near full strength. We'll see if he can make this work here. keeping an eye on this battle here. 5th, we're also keeping an eye on the lead as it is, again, half a second separates the two of them, but as one's pulling away a little bit, so we're going to go back to the lead as we do not want to miss anything or any interchanges that can happen for the lead here. Ooh, and look at that. Wanzing going to come in here, so we can assume you can't make it on one tank. So AS will confirm that you cannot make it on one full tank fuel between 2 and 3, so we know there'll be a pit stop on the final page, but Wanzing will come in and try to give himself a better chance for the last stage here. So now Feather Place will inherit the lead. Gap over 6 seconds to Josh Gaiman. Makes me think Gaiman may have had a slight incident, and we actually will take a quick look as we do see something pop of note up in the battle box here. Oh, looks like the car kicks there. Luckily, will not hit anything, but that's going to probably take him out of contention for getting the stage win. Back to live action. With 6 seconds to Gaiman's behind Feather Place, and Gaiman's 6 seconds clear John Hagen, who's now gotten his machine back up to 3rd. Further back, we see we were focused on this a minute ago. Kent still hounding the back of Wardon here. Was able to get around as you were watching that encounter there. As smooth as you like. We do have more pit stops to report. Hagen's coming in. Gaiman also too, so they are going to flip the stage here. Oh, and Gaiman looks like he is called. Something has happened to Gaiman as he has jumped to pit lane here. So Hagen pitted scheduled for Dawn, but this could have been terminal. Whatever happened to Josh Gaiman here. We'll see if we can get a look at it here. We'll see right here. This is Gaiman. We'll see what happened. Through the last couple corners here. Oh, too hard. Oh! And yeah, I think it broke a toe length. And that is going to be day done for Josh Gaiman and season over as well. As that is going to be terminal damage, and he will not be able to make it to the next round of the playoffs. So that puts Feather Place now still in the lead with Hagen pitting, trying to flip the stage. There's no real competition for Feather Place. The question is, what does Feather Place elect to do here? Does he stay out, try to get the 10 points and the extra point that goes with it? Or does he try to stay on top of his two main rivals at this time, Wanzing and Hagen, and elect to kind of come in? But now with pit lane being officially closed, he will stay out more than likely as long as he doesn't make a mistake and get the max 10 stage points. Matthew Kent in second also will not allow how the pit lane closes with the leader, so everyone else has pretty much made their bed and they will lie in it as they are going to try to get the max amount of stage points they can get. A bit further back here. Bit of a train forming here. Markowski up to 4th. Marshall, Dila, Wanzing battles. Obviously, Wanzing came to the pit. He's got some fresher tires on that machine. So he's going to try to make this work here and get closer and closer he can. Get around Dila. So that put Wanzing up to 6th. As you can see, probably up the road here. Could probably get 2 more spots before we see the end of the stage here if he can get the hammer down. Up his Feemster right there, about 3 seconds clear Markowski. And 7/10 is the gap between Markowski and Marshall. You see right now, Wanzing obviously going to try to pass his teammate and Marshall. I don't think, theoretically, Marshall shouldn't put up that much of a fight, but since both are playoff drivers, all 3 are playoff drivers, no one's going to give an inch here if they can help it. No one's going to lay over and die. A bit of a lockup, though, by Marshall. Gotta be careful not to flat spot the tires. Wanzing gonna try to come in and get the run he needs. Side by side teammates are almost. Wanzing will get clear there before the last corner. So Wanzing now up to 5th. We'll try to pass Markowski with 1 lap to go here. We'll jump back just for a second. Hagen making a move on Battles here. Hagen just set the fast lap of the race of 1:19.86. He'll get clear of Battles, so put Hagen now up to 8th. Meanwhile, Brandon Featherplace coming through the bus stop here, about to start the last couple corners here to finish the lap. We're going to cut back to Wanzing for a moment, as he's obviously in a battle here for 4th. With a lockup there by Markowski. We'll see if that opens the door. Obviously, we're kind of covering 2 things here. We're going to cut back up to Featherplace, though, for just a second, as we do not want to see him missing coming across the line to win stage 2. So coming off the last corner, Featherplace will win stage number 2. Further back, we'll see, obviously, a shame we did miss it, but obviously we did not want to miss the driver winning the stage. So Wanzing will get ahead of Featherplace, and that's probably where the buck will stop. Matthew Kent will come home with a P2 in stage number 2. John Hagen going to try to get an extra spot here as well. So we'll get around Dila, so put Hagen down to 7th. As the rest of the drivers begin to file in, Marshall going to overcook it, and he's going to run into Markowski. Hagen have to take evasive action. A few more drivers going to go, and this is not what Markowski wanted to see. Stage point just going up the wazoo here, as he's actually going to end up finishing, instead of a nice 5th in stage points, is now going to lose 5 extra points because of that moment with Marshall there. Obviously, with some drivers taking the validation, it's curious to see how this is going to play with time sinks, but we'll take a quick look just at that crash. Actually, we'll take a look at the results first, and then we'll take a look at the incident in question there. So Featherplace, Kent, Feemster, Wanzing, Hagen, Dila, Marshall, Galloway, Battles, Markowski, your top 10 here. Says Bottles is in 7th, so we'll see how it gets recycled in a second. But right now, those are the top 10 getting stage points. Fleming and Gaiman obviously missing out on points. Obviously, we'll go over that in just a moment. So we'll take a quick look here at what exactly happened there. Coming to the last line there, we obviously saw a bit of a lockup there by the 16 of Marshall. As he just locks up, goes straight, and one-hops it right into Markowski. And at that point, if I'm Markowski, I'm probably not too thrilled, because every point can matter here. We'll take 2 more looks at this. This time we'll ride on board with Edward Marshall here. As he goes deeper to the corner, but just a bit too deep, and I was just hoping not to hit him, but ugh, very rough situation all around. This time we'll ride on board here with Dale Markowski. Yeah, this is going to get blindsided here. He has no clue what's going on, and then you get hit. Like, it's not damage that's going to really affect him all that much, but, you know, positions lost is the problem here. So obviously we'll see how it plays out here, but that's how stage 2 will end. Brandon Featherplace obviously takes the lead of this race, and actually put the 38 of McDonough a lap down in the process. So pit lane should be open this time by, as the field will get caught up. McDonough more than likely will take the wave around here. Only 1 retirement, so 2 retirements in this race, with both Baxter and Gaiman taking it behind the wall. And obviously we're talking about drivers that we assumed were out, or at least on the outskirts looking in coming in tonight. So we'll pull up the old standings we have here. That's the wrong graphic. That's the right graphic. So obviously with Oberstadt not here, we can take his name and throw it out. LaJoy not being here, he is also going to be on the outside looking in more than likely, giving us 10 spots. With Gaiman having his troubles this week and next week, he is also now officially probably out from the unofficial math we have to kind of cobble together. I mean, the last spot at the moment, theoretically, obviously, these are old standings, but looking at the results last week, Markowski had a little bit of trouble, along with a few other playoff drivers, so we'll have to see how it plays. But we know Markowski's one of those drivers with the remaining field here. Are going to be fighting over one more spot. So pit lane officially open this time by. Assume everyone's pretty much coming in except for Wanzing and Hagen, who obviously came in to flip the stage along with, I think, Fordon. So, yeah, Fordon came in at 21. So the 3 drivers that came in to flip the stage, they will stay out here and get the track position. But Feather Place obviously came in for fuel only last time by. We obviously saw the danger to cold tires under the last restart. So the question is, will they rock with cold tires again, or will they try to take 4? And it looks like most, if not all, are going to take 4 tires here. Away they all will go. Feather Place will win the race off pit lane. So if we go back, because obviously I had to pull back up the old results from last week, try to get a cobble together of what we may be looking at unofficially for the playoffs. And we'll see what we can figure out. So basically, it's safe to assume right now, again, maybe a major crash out to make it happen, but a driver that finished possibly in Iowa last week is going to be in a spot where you could say they are probably in, or at the very least looking good at the moment. Those drivers would obviously be like Wanzing, Hagen, Fordon with the win last week, Feather Place. They're in at the moment. Marshall finished okay, but also considering he did get some stage points, we'll see. Obviously have to calculate those in too. But it gets kind of interesting. Fleming as well, I think, had a decent result. We'll see if we can confirm that in just a second. Yeah, Fleming finished 7th last week with the fuel call and the strategy. Battles finished 11th. As well. So they have noteworthy examples here. So it's really going to come down to the stage points for these 2 races and the overall finish of the last 2 weeks. So last week, Galloway only finished 2 more spots ahead of Markowski. And obviously tonight, keeping a rough tally, Markowski has scored more points than Galloway has. So safe to assume right now, I'd assume they're on level, at the very least. Battles as well has had a decent run going. He had some good points last week, and I think he even led a lap. So right now, I hate to say it, it's really just speculation. Only ones I can assume is drivers that got a lot of good points last week, like Wanzing, Hagen, and Fordon obviously won, and Feather Place. They're all pretty much, I would say, close to locked or locked, at the very least, after tonight. Hagen obviously had a race cushion, so he's safe to assume he's locked. But after that, though, it is just kind of up in the air. I think it's going to be a close fight between a couple drivers in that last spot, and I would not keep an eye on Galloway and Markowski here. As I think right now the cards for the final spot right now is a fight between those 2. But then again, with Battles being in 14th, is he bleeding enough points and still on pit lane, going to go a lap down for his troubles? Is he got enough points in the cushion, in the bank, that he can maybe survive this? So I think it's right now, if I had to speculate for the last week's race and this week's now with the numbers we have, if I had to guess, I think it's going to be a 3-horse race between Marshall, Battles, It's going to be a 3-horse race between Galloway, Markowski, and Battles for that last playoff spot, as we safe to assume Oberstadt's out, LaJoy is out as he's missed a race and won't get any points at all. And Gaiman is going to get pretty much last place points billing, and with him already being out anyway, he won't be able to overtake anyone. So we'll have to see how it all goes, math and all. Anyway, we did get officially the 1 to go that time by, as we were trying to speculate math out and figure out who or what could be making the round of 8. Obviously, it's not usually an occurrence we have to do, as usually we do have updated points and all that, but with some of the, again, with El Presidente becoming a girl dad, we kind of had a bit of an odd week with points as he's been dealing the new father life, so we do wish him well, but obviously it makes doing math a bit hard. So Hagen and Wanzing will be lining up row number 1. Obviously Wanzing looking for redemption after last week. missing out on getting his first win in over 2 years. Hagan obviously looking to add another win to that total, and I think bring him up to 8, if I'm not mistaken. We'll pull up the standings here, as it does have the number on the question. Yep, no, 9. He'll be up to 9 now and get his 3rd win in the playoffs out of 4 attempts if he can win. Bourdon obviously already won last week, trying to go back-to-back similar to Hagan did for the first 2 rounds. He'll be in row 2 along with Feather Place, looking to get his first playoff win in at least a couple years. I don't think he's done it, period. Then in row 4, we got Kent Themes for 2 playoff drivers looking to be spoilers. Or sorry, 2 drivers looking to be spoilers. They did not make the next round of the playoffs or make the playoffs at all. And then you got Galloway Markowski, which I think is going to be the row to keep an eye on to see who makes it in the playoffs between that row, as I think they're near level or at level on points. So we get ready to go to the final stage. We know 1 pit stop looms in this stage. Just how it goes here. 28, 27 laps to go. Can Wanzing make this car work, or can Hagan get away and get a good launch here to get around him? Only time will tell. Pace car going to pull on off. And let's get this final stage going. Green flag is out, and away we go here for the final stage. Start the final stage here with the 1 lap completed. Wanzing will lead the first lap in the final stage. Hagan in second. So I'll get a good run. I do see something back there, a little bit of smoke. Everyone's got it pointed in the right direction for the most part here. Just making sure nothing. No, well, there goes Marshall. I was going to say, I thought we were good. Fleming's going to get roadblocked here. And that's going to allow Galloway to go on by. And we do actually have a caution here, so whatever has happened, looks like they've deemed that a caution. I'm going to assume into that instant we saw with Marshall and Fleming, it is 2 cars technically. Usually we don't see yellow flags called on road courses, so very caught me off guard there. So we'll double check, but I'm going to guess it's going to be for the incident we saw there with Marshall. So we'll take another look here. Get a good angle of it. So Marshall obviously coming from the last corner here, first corner here. Back end kicks out, and yeah, Fleming has nowhere really to go. He'll ply in. They both get it going, though, so this is where you would argue maybe they should have kept it going, kept the caution free, but as it is technically 2 cars, race control will deem that an incident, and thus they will blow out the caution. So caution will be called. We'll take another look, this time riding aboard with Fleming. Obviously, this is 2 playoff drivers. Marshall lost it similar to Hagan earlier in stage 2, and just, yeah, nowhere to go as he just pounds the door of the 16. But they keep it going, so, again, race control being a bit on the cautious side, especially with 2 cars. You'll see, if you get the gearbox camera, you can see Dela and Johnson there. They didn't want to risk it becoming a track blocker. So they played it safer than sorry. Caution gets called, and we re-rack them and try it again. So extra laps here for Wanzing. We're still a bit too early to try to make it to the final stage. It's obviously a bit too early to see a driver make a pit stop here, as if they were to pit, obviously this would be the same distance, obviously bigger distance than we saw for stage 2. And Wanzing, obviously, who stayed out, came in about lap 20. So it's a bit too early to roll the dice. We may see some driver be elected, because we'll probably go green with 23 or 22 laps to go. It'd be a risky pull, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if maybe one driver, when pit lane opens this time by, maybe tries to make it on one last stop here. There's the advantage, obviously, to be a big track, but you got to make sure you keep your speed up or you could get caught. Because I think we're just pretty much at the cusp of the window of making it to the finish line here without having to pit again. So, again, it'll be interesting to see if anyone rolls the dice and maybe comes in here and tries to stretch their fuel tank. If I had to guess, this may be a strategy where like a Matthew Kent or maybe a Markowski, a Vordon tries this. Obviously, you saw Vordon do it last week, saving a ton of fuel. But like I said, I just don't know how much the speed drop would have to be in order to make that number. Maybe I'm completely off base. Maybe they can make it the remaining 23 laps when we get the green. We saw Wanzing good for 20 on one tank, and that had a stage break in between. They'd have to do 20 laps green. Looks like Wanzing's thinking about it. He's on the apron. Hagen is too. We'll see if they're fully committing or if they're just kind of faking out the rest of the field here. Well, pit lane's officially open, and Wanzing and Hagen, they're going to stay out. They are not going to roll the dice. Few drivers will elect to come in, though. Galloway, Marshall, Fleming, Dila, Johnson, and Feemster. So they think that maybe pulling this strategy here, coming in, getting the track position at the very least, maybe can make it. So they are all in, some to fix up their cars, others to try to maybe roll the dice here and get a good finish. You know, I assume Battles will be the lucky dog, but it looks like he is not going to get credit for it. So, as we see a wide shot here, which is odd, yeah, we're still on pit lane camera. Cool shot, though, we see it from the tower. Wish you could have got this angle working under the pit stop windows and the caution, but yeah, very cool angles. We'll see, you know, a few cars escape here and leave pit lane. So we'll have one more lap of pacing. We'll hit green with 22 laps to go. Pit lane is also open a second time here, so we'll see if anyone double dips. Wouldn't say it's the calm for the storm, but it's the interesting strategy, if you will, as this plays out. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in here on ABN Studios here. So we're on the road to 600. Obviously, if you've been tuning in week and week out, we thank you for joining the A2 Series. Obviously, with this being a cutoff race, the field of 8 will be officially set. And we know most of the names, but we're still waiting for a couple to finish out here. And if you do want to keep an eye on it, keep an eye on the ABN socials. All linked in description. Also keep an eye on ARCS' socials as well, as they will update you on who will make the round of 8. So pit lane open again here. We'll see if anyone maybe, again, elects to come in, thinking it's one lap closer. Obviously, you'll lose track position, but if you think you can make it a one last stop, the advantages outweigh the cons. Hagen, again, looks like he may be thinking about it, but looks like no one will blink here and come in. Well, we do see McDonough coming in, along with Feemster. So Feemster was one of those drivers that didn't pit under the first window. He is coming in this time by. Very interesting. So I would not be shocked to say if he's one of the drivers that may be trying to stretch here on one more tank. So we'll have to keep an eye on him and Dila, Marshall, and Fleming, who all came in, along with Johnson and Galloway. Actually, I think he did come in under 31, but he's coming to top in regardless. So we'll have to keep an eye on Galloway, Johnson, Feemster, Dila, Marshall, and Fleming here. If it stays green, can they make it on without having to come in again? So up front, Wands, similar to what we saw in the previous restart, Wansing, Hagen, row 1, Feather Place, Fordon, row 2, Kent, Markowski, row 3, Galloway, Johnson, row 4, Dila, and Feemster, your first 5 rows. All right, we're going to see how this run to presumably the green will go here. Again, re-update for anyone here. We assume everyone is going to have to pit one more time, but there are some question marks on some of the drivers who just came in and topped off. Feemster, Brian Johnson, Blake Galloway, Mark Dila, Marshall, Fleming. They all came in and topped off under this caution. We know that Wansing made it 20 laps under with the help of a stage caution. Is there enough fuel in it, though, to make it, or will there just not be enough? And maybe hoping for another caution. Only time will tell, but I would argue I don't think the fuel may be close. Regardless, pace car pulls on off. We'll see how this plays out. Green flag is out, and away we go here. 22 laps to go at the Roval. Hasn't won over in close to 2 years. Feather Place has yet to win in the playoffs. Finding victory here could be the momentum they need going into the round of 8. Wansing has been very close to finding victory these last couple weeks, but just hasn't been able to seal the deal yet. And obviously he's a 2-time champion. Trying to end the season as becoming the first 3-time champion of the series. Hagen were to find victory this season and win the championship, he would end up being a 2-time champion, joining the ranks of Seth Wansing. If Feather Place were to win, he'd become the first-time series champion. He would be punching his ticket into immortality. We have another caution, and it's going to be Fleming and Galloway again. And they're torn up heavily, and that caused Galloway to jump the pit lane here. So it could be day done for Galloway, but obviously we saw them have an incident previously, happening again. Another caution. Obviously we'll have to take a look here, and this may make the fuel concerns go away, but regardless, we'll take a look here and see what happened. Obviously this is right now Fleming we're focusing on. We should get to Galloway. So obviously right there we see him. We'll play it back here. Oh, car just gets loose. Oh, I don't... Feemster gets around, everyone else does okay, but there was nowhere Fleming to go, but that... And then a smack in by that is going to get some eye of the stewards here. So Galloway looks like, yeah, right there he jumps in. We'll have to take a couple more looks at this, but that is a very odd incident. We'll focus on this time, we'll focus on Fleming here. Because right now I'm kind of confused to see why Galloway is mad. He lost on his own. There's nowhere he can go, and then there he lets the brake loose. Like, what does he expect? I don't know if he's mad or if he just ends up losing control, but it's like, there's nothing he could theoretically do if you're Fleming. Like, it's a corner that has only one arc way. Maybe just frustration? I don't know. Very odd. I don't want to jump the gun, but it's just a very odd situation. We'll watch again this time riding aboard with Galloway. Car kicks. Fleming obviously nowhere to go. He kind of lets off the brake too, which doesn't help, and then maybe it wasn't intentional. It's just very odd that, you know, as soon as that goes, the car kicks right into Fleming and then tows. Maybe something was broken. Not going to try to... Looking at it again, it does look like... We'll take one more look here. Obviously, do not want to pass judgment in the booth, as the car could have easily been broken from that contact, and it broke something. So we'll take one more look from another angle and just see, again... Like, I would say my main complaint would be, if we can find the 05 here. Take a look again. So obviously the 05 goes around. Obviously north of 38 to go. Yep, right rear toe link's broken. So that's actually, my apologies to Galloway. I'm going to assume that had some effect on the spin out, maybe. Again, just impartial, but you can see it broke a toe length regardless at that angle. So that contact broke the toe length and pretty much is going to end Galloway's night. So back to live action. We'll head back to the lead. Pit lane is going to be open right now. We'll see if anyone comes in. Can 21 to go be enough? Oh, Wansing and Hagen in. A bunch of other people following suit. Featherplace staying out. So my number was kind of correct. I assumed 20 would be good to go, per se, and it looks like the window's officially opened. Everyone is now in from what I assume would be the final stop. Featherplace going to stay out, whether that's part of the cards or if he can maybe make it to the end here without having to stop again and wants the track position. Question is, who's going to get into their box first here? And away Hagen will go. He will not take tires. He will get the spot. Kent for Don. And this could be catastrophic for Wansing, as he elected not to. He elected to take tires while all his competitors around him took fuel only. So very interesting situation to say the least. He's going to fall back here. Hagen going to cycle, keep his second spot here. But now Featherplace will be in first. So obviously, again, with that incident, now it looks like Galloway Day is officially done. Fleming obviously torn up as well. Marshall obviously with a long repair clock as well. This is going to be interesting to say the least for the playoff situation. Battles, obviously, who's dealt with a wounded car, is going to come around here. He's already jumped Galloway. And again, if trying to base it off math and trying to base it off last week's race results, I would say at the moment, obviously unofficial, but I would say at the moment, I think we have our field of 8 maybe set already, possibly. Obviously, it comes down to whether Galloway can get back on the track or not, and I don't think he is going to. Battles is going to gain 2 spots here with the repair clock of Fleming and Marshall. Fleming is heavily torn up. Marshall less so. I'd assume Marshall can beat the bell. I'm not so sure about Fleming. And obviously, if we go with the points as we pull back up this graphic here, this old graphic, you can see how close the points were last week between everyone from Featherplace all the way to LaJoy. It was only a 4-point swing. So if you had a poor first race and didn't get any stage wins or anything, it puts you in a big hole. And if you were to miss a round, it would basically be a 0 added to your total. And if we go back to last week, for example of purpose, obviously Oberstadt wasn't here either week, so he would be already out, giving us 3 more spots to try to deal with. With LaJoy not making it, no matter his result last week, he should more than likely end up missing the line just because of a big fat 0 in his total, even though I think last week he ended up finishing 19th anyway and retiring. So it's more than likely that Joy is also going to miss the line, giving us 2 more spots. Then Gaiman, who finished last week and will finish not last, but will finish 15th this week, will not have any points he can really put towards total as well, and thus I would assume at the moment he is probably out as well. As we do see Wanzing come back down again here, so maybe the fuel isn't good to make it to the finish. Both of them coming in to top off. We'll have to wait and see how this plays, though. Just want to report that before we go back green here as the lights have gone out. But to finish my ramblings on the playoffs, the last lowest playoff driver was Blake Galloway. He didn't finish the race long. Actually, Markowski was the next lowest, then Blake Galloway was the next lowest. With Galloway now slated in 13th and not going to come back out here, he was the lowest 4, so theoretically one of the lowest drivers, and with Markowski still going, and we know Galloway didn't get any stage points, I believe. Maybe he got 1 or 2, possibly in the second stage. I'd have to recheck. I think right now, I'm not a betting man, but I feel kind of confident to say that I think the field of 8 may be already set. Obviously, penalties, points, other things can play factors in this, and obviously we'll let the crew at ARCS decide this, and the A-squared admin team. But I feel like at the moment we could safely assume that I think Hagen, Feather Place, Fordon, Wanzing, Markowski, Marshall, Fleming, and Battles have all made it through just because of the results of over 2 rounds. Again, this is just the theory I have, and obviously I'm rambling to a few people, and obviously we'll find out the points next week, so make sure you tune in next week, and we'll have the official 8. But I would venture a guess that I think with how it's shaken up, we know our field of 8 with his last 19 rounds. But obviously, things can change. Penalties can happen. Drivers could get DQ'd. Drivers could get removed. Obviously, we'll let the A-squared team handle that. But we'll focus on what we can handle now. Hagen and Feather Place will line up row 1. Feather Place has still not come in, so it's safe to assume he's going to pit one more time, and he thinks the rest of the field is going to have to pit, hence why he wants the track position. Hagen came in, maybe thinking he's got the economy, he can make it to go, pitting from 35, giving him 20, 21 laps to try to make it work. Kent, Vordon, Feemster, Dila, Johnson, Battles, your top 8, all came in under the last caution, took fuel only on their runs. It gets interesting, though, because Wanzing came in and topped off on lap 36 along with Markowski. So they feel like their 20 is not going to be the magical number you can hit, and they think that this top field may have to pit again and they can take advantage. Obviously, if it stays green, fuel could be a factor here. It'll be interesting how it plays out. But control will be on Feather Place as we go green.
Green flag.
Green flag is out, and away we go again here. 19 laps to go. Oh, and Hagen is around. He lost it on... Oh, and Dilo will get piled. That should be a caution, going by some of the rules. Yep, caution will be now called. All right, this has got more interesting. And it looks like, is there damage on Hagen's machine here? The car looked like it was kind of crab walking there a little bit. So Hagen will get caught back up, similar to what we saw previously. We'll take a look again here. Obviously, first of all, this is a road course caution record, which is interesting to say, but obviously this last stage has been very chaotic with the cold tires. Similar to what we saw at start stage 2, Hagen just lost on his own. Nowhere to go. Then we see he comes up the road here. Bourdon escapes through. Feemster, Dila, not so lucky. Comes the track blocker, and the caution is called. We'll watch this time from this incident, 2 angles. We'll ride on board with Feemster, and we'll ride on board with Dila. See how much damage they got. Dila obviously gets around him in the corner, which is not a saving grace. There's the spin. Dila can't go high anymore. You can see a little bit of a wall tap for Feemster, but I think he gets through relatively okay. As for Dila, I would say not so lucky here, as we'll ride on board with him. There's the little spin, tries to lock it down, shoots up a little bit, trying to fit through a hole that has a Feemster going through it. Feemster gets some air. He gives a good old shunt, but similar we saw with Galloway, does not end up breaking his toe link of John Hagen. One more look, we'll ride on board again with a different angle this time with John Hagen. That corner's caught a couple drivers. It's going to catches out champions too as Hagen goes around. Catches it on spot, not wide enough. It's even, yeah, Marshall gets a contact in it too. As everyone else skates on around. So back to live action. We'll see if there's any major damage on Hagen. Obviously, he got a good shunt there, so it looks like he's trying to feel out the car. Up front, Feather Place has the lead. More than likely now, if you pit, you are good to go to the finish. So we would safe to assume Feather Place is coming in this time by. Question is, what will the rest of the field do here? Ford Kent, Bourdon, Feemster, Wanzing. We know Wanzing came in and topped off, and now he's an advantage. He's now sitting in the 5th spot. Feemster, obviously in 4th. We saw him get a little shunt with the wall. Does he have any damage? It looks like maybe Wanzing trying to help him out, asking if he's got any damage. Bourdon in 3rd. Kent in 2nd. Presumably, if you take this extra caution, is there enough fuel saved? Do you even need to come in? Only driver we know that has to pit again is Feather Place, more than likely. But with all these caution laps, can he save enough? I think there's a lot of good questions here, and obviously we'll find out the answers again in due time, as pit lane should be open this time by. What turned into a fuel mileage race now may not even be a fuel mileage race anymore. Well, maybe, depending on whether or not Feather Place likes to stay out. If Feather Place stays out, then it's safe to assume he's got the fuel to make it with all these extra caution laps, or he thinks he does. So pit lane open. Let's keep an eye. He comes in. He's got the hand out the window. He is officially in. So Feather Place will pit from the lead. Dila and Marshall are also going to come in. Obviously, everyone further back just going to come in to top off and fix damage. So obviously, Dila had that shunt from the accident. Marshall's been dealing with a lengthy repair. We obviously know Fleming had to fix up the machine from that contact. And Hagen obviously coming in to fix up his car as well. So everyone else coming in either to top off or fix up damage or both. So they are all in along with Feather Place. Obviously, Feather Place coming kind of opposed. He's got a set of tires. I assume he will take it, but guess he doesn't want to risk cool tires. He is now away, and he'll come out in 5th position. So that will give the lead to the Lone Star Man and Matthew Kent. Bourdon, Feemster, and Wanzing will be your top 4 with Feather Place in 5th. After that, it's going to come down to repair and damage clock for everyone else. Johnson going to come home out in 6th. Yeah, and the question now I'm keeping an eye is how much damage does Hagen have from that incident? Is the car wounded severely? Can he get that car back up to speed? Because we assume, looking at lap times, he does have probably the fastest car here. Does he have enough? Let's see if we get a good angle at the pit lane. We had that last angle, which I liked. Now we can't pull it up. There we go. So yeah, pit lane, a very interesting location right now. As we do wait to see if anyone maybe blink pops out here, but long repairs for those 5. But let's give Kent and the Co his due. He takes the lead. Sneaky quiet day, I would say the least. Obviously no longer in the playoffs, got bounced in the first round, but looking to be a spoiler. Obviously wants to win for his own pride in that number 15 Bucky's machine. Bourdon in 2nd. Obviously won last week. A win would be put him in the illustrious crew of drivers that have won back-to-back races in the playoffs. Not a big list. Feemster, driver that's been itching for a win here in this series, will line up 3rd. Another driver that's been itching just as long as the 2-time champion is Seth Wanzing. Long gap, he has even said. And after the heartbreak he had last week, we'll be looking to do it. Then you got Feather Place in 6th, who will have the best fuel out of all of them. So theoretically, if there's slight concerns in the car that came in at 35, 36, and with this extra lap of caution, if they have the economy, they should be okay. But if there is slight concerns, we know Feather Place, Johnson, and Dila will have no such concerns. And now they're coming close to coming off the corner here. Let's go back to the pit lane. We'll focus on Hagen and co. here, as they still have a lengthy clock here, and we'll keep an eye on the top of your screen. We'll actually pull the ticker off the screen for a second to show you, as they are now officially coming around the last corner here. There goes Fleming, there goes Battles, there goes Marshall. Can our reigning champion Hagen make it out? Obviously, again, he's in the next round regardless. It's just going to come down to whether or not that car is even fixable. He's the only car left there. And I think that damage is good enough. He is going to go one down, so he is going to be out. Well, hold on a second. Yep, he is now officially one down. So Hagen's going to actually, well, wait a minute. It's going to be close. He's actually going to beat the pace car, so never mind. Hagen will, well, he was going to keep it on the lead lap, but it looks like he's looped it. And now the field's coming, so, oh, this is just embarrassing to say the least. He won't run to the leaders, which is good, but, oh, trying to rush out to beat the car. He caught it again. And it's just a nightmare. I'm going to stay with him just a second to see if he does get to go around here. If he's going to have to stay, yeah, he will be allowed back around here, so he will get to go back on the lead lap. But will he even get caught up? And obviously, with that car still dealing with some issues, does that machine have enough that it can even be competitive? So, as the rest of the field gets caught up, again, we kind of went over who is where under the last restart, talking about while we were waiting for the pace laps here, but we'll do it again. Matthew Kent leads the way. A driver that has yet to find victory in A Square, obviously spent most of the time as the lead steward before finally coming behind the wheel, looking to maybe hold on and get a win in that Bucky's machine. Team owner. Matt Fordon's already won twice this year. Again, one of few drivers have 2 wins this season. Only other ones being John Hagen with 8 and Zach Millett with, I think, 3. So, looking to join the 3 winners club, which would put him in pretty much a lone company. Feemster, Wanzing, long droughts. Feemster has yet to find victory in A Squared. Wanzing has not won in over 2 years. Feather Place won early this year, but has yet to find victory in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Looking to finally end that drought. He'll be firing off in 5th. Johnson, a series rookie, highest rookie. Well, actually, I think Fordon may be a rookie too. But regardless, one of the highest rookies right now, looking to have a good run here. Then you got Dila, a series regular. Fleming, who won the 500. There in the next row. Marshall, who won in Indianapolis. Josh Battles, who's been surviving these playoffs, but is definitely a strong driver. Very consistent. Won Talladega to get himself in the table. And now that, and we have some more reports as well. Markowski has had a lag out. Obviously unknown what this will do for the playoffs here and the effects that may have. But his day is officially done as well, so add another name to the DNF pile. And now the math should get interesting between Markowski and Galloway. Again, wish we had updated points, but we'll just have to figure out what happens going into next week. But Markowski's now behind the wall too, and will give us 11 cars still running on the lead lap. Pace car going to pull off. We'll see what can happen here. Who has fuel to make it? Who's going to win this race? Let's find out. Pace car pulling off. Green flag out in the air. 14 laps to go. Great launch there by Kent. He'll fire it off in the first. Fordon second. Feemster and Wanzing going to battle here for third. Oh, and Dila going to get loose in a similar spot. No caution we call, though, as his single car did not block the track. So he will get it going again here. So no caution will be called as we stay green. Real fast, just to update Hagen, I don't think caught the pace field. Yeah, he's currently about a couple corners back. So he will have a bigger gap. If that car is good, he'll have to make up a bigger gap here to get caught back up. Back to the lead, though. Kent, Fordon, Wanzing got around Phoenix while we were watching Dila. Has led the most laps here tonight at over 18. Oh, and Fordon going to self-spin. He's off into the wall. That's going to get second to Wanzing. Third to Feather Place. Rest of the field will pass by as well, so lead blend here. Rough spot. Those 2 cars are coming. He's going to have just to hold it. He's going to try to get out of the way here, not impede the bus stop. There goes Dila and Hagen. Now he'll continue on. And that's going to take Verdun out of podium position. Back up to the lead. Kent. Wanzing. That time by was obviously a little bit faster, but it was the pace lap. The first restart lap. We'll see what happens here again. Keeping an eye on this. We do want to cut back in just a second. We will, as we do see right now, Brian Johnson, Edward Marshall battling for a moment. It looks like that gap is opened back up. We're not going to miss this past battle for the lead at all. Just wanted to make sure nothing crazy was happening. Should be worth noting, Kent, Wanzing, Feather Place, Feemster, all on same tire strategy here. No one has any fresh tires on their machines. So it is going to come down to raw pace here. Top three have all podium this season as well. And we have another caution, which is going to neutralize this. Trying to figure out who it may be. My report is saying Battles, but it isn't him. I think it may be McDonough. Looks like Hagen had another incident. I think McDonough may have been involved. So we'll take a look here. Obviously, there's McDonough sideways, but it is single car. So let's go back one and see what happened to Hagen. So we'll watch Hagen first and see if anything happened to him here. He was right behind Dila. Oh, yep, that will explain what happened. Well, Hagen has his own little self-spin, but that's not going to be the reason for the caution. The caution is going to be for McDonough there. So we'll go back here and see what happened to McDonough, as obviously this is going to be the reason of our caution here. So McDonough obviously running his own little battle here. A couple laps down. The back end just kicks, hits the inside wall, hits the outside wall, locks it down. At this point, you got to see him sitting here waiting, trying to find a way back out. He backs up a little bit, gets going, and at that point, Dila and Hagen were coming, and that's why the caution was called. Is obviously Dila and Hagen really had nowhere to go there. We'll take another look this time riding on board with Dila. Obviously, a little bit of ways away from the incident, so we'll see if we can get a little closer. Yep, right about here is good. So just watching on board here with Dila. Blind corner. Ugh. Obviously, McDonough had no clue they were coming, so he kind of went trying to get out of the active racing line and just kind of a bad spot all around. Dila gets relatively okay. Hagen has a little self-spin, but we now get under caution again. Again, I joked about it, saying this is the most amount of cautions we've had in a stage, but in a road course, but it probably really is. Obviously, the record keepers at A-Square can kind of back me up on this, but I think this is the most cautions we've had in a road course in a while, just because they've been interesting situations, but they have been track blockers and technically two cars. So they haven't. It's been a solo spin, but it's been in that spot, the corner, where there's really nowhere for the car to go. So if it blocks the track and another car has nowhere to go, caution gets called. Obviously, I'm not sure if this was better or worse for the likes of Kent, Wanzing, Feather Place, and co. As obviously right now, this caution rebunches everyone. The extra caution, theoretically, if there are any concerns on fuel for Kent, Wanzing, and everyone else that stayed out, they should be good. They shouldn't have to come back in. This is going to recycle the field, though, and close the gaps. Battles, Dila, and Hagen will come in again, along with McDonough. They're all in here. This opens the door of strategy. I think this is honestly going to be an interesting situation to see how it plays. Like you're lighting off a stick of dynamite here and hoping it ends up playing out. So when we go green, we'll have 9 laps to go. Kent will have control of the restart. Again, a lot of hungry drivers have not won in a while. Looking to find glory here. How aggressive would you be to get your first win in A-Squared, if you're Kent or Feemster, your first win in a while, if you're in Wanzing's camp, or your first win in over 6 months, if you're Feather Place or even Marshall. And let's not even count out Johnson, Fleming, and Verdun, as Johnson and Fleming also would be in a while and first-time win period. just got back. Just want to make sure my water was all filled up, ready to go for the final. Presumably 10 laps here. Let's take a second and reset the field again here. Wands Kent, row 1. Feemster, Fetter Place, row 2. Marshall, Johnson, row 3. Fleming, Rordon, row 4. Dila, Battles, row 5. John Hagen, last car in the lead lap, in 11th. McDonough, only car still running that isn't behind the wall. He's in 12th. Then you got Markowski, who had a disconnection. Galloway, who's retired. And Gaiman, who's retired. At the moment, there are still some question marks on who's made the field of 8. We assume LaJoy, Oberstadt, and Gaiman have missed. The final spot really is going to come down to Markowski and Galloway. And I think it may even come down to stage points, as they only finished 2 points spot for last week. And with stage points, so I'm unsure at the moment, but I know Markowski got a couple stage points here tonight, so I'd say at the moment Markowski may be in, but that is just pure speculation at this point. We'll have to wait for the confirmation at the end of this race. But we're not focusing on playoff math right now. We're focused on who will get victory here. Like I said, for some, they're looking to be the greatest spoiler. Others looking to get that win and get momentum heading into the round 8 next week. And if you're no one really is on the bubble that I would say needing this win to get to the next round. But we'll have to see how it plays. Should be no fuel concerns. Everyone should be good to go to the finish line. Obviously, if we get a late caution, we would have 3 green light check attempts if needed, if we see a caution before 2 to go. Oh, between lap 2 and lap 3, I can say. 3 or 2 to go, we see a caution. We'll activate one of our green light check attempts, and we'll have 3 attempts. All right, let's do the thing again. Kent left control on restart. Can he hang on to the spot? Wansing, who's led won the most laps here tonight, I believe. Just going to quickly check. Yeah, 10. Yeah, he has led the most laps at 18. Can he get back this lead? What can row 2, Feather Place, and Feemster do? Let us find out, shall we? Green flag is out, and away we go. Ooh, Wansing got a little kick there off the bus stop, but we'll hold on a second. Kent, though, going to file off and head into first. Got a point in the right direction. With laps being over 1.5 minutes long, we are still pretty much 10 minutes away from the finish. Over 10 minutes. But that can be an eternity around a track like this. Wansing looking to make a run here. Can he get a good run here on Kent going off in the oval corner 2 here? So far, Kent holding charges. 1, 2, 3, 4, all even on track. Don't look now. John Hagen is in 6th. That was the one worry I was wondering is when the caution came out, he was going to recycle here. And we know he's got a fast #1 machine, but he's going to collide with Marshall. And that is going to cause some maybe catastrophes here. Marshall going to keep spinning. We'll say green, but that is maybe a bit over-aggressive, maybe a pinch by Marshall. Marshall's now back here. And Hagen is going to keep going. We stayed green, 8 laps to go. Worth noting right now, 3 seconds is the gap between Hagen and the race lead. So this looks like he's going to try to make a move on Fleming. He'll get the job done, put him now up to 5th. Back up to a race lead. Kent, Wansing, Feather Place, Feemster, your top 4. And like I said, being 8 laps, being eternity is a good thing, but also a bad thing. These things can change on a dime and a drop of a hat. Teams are getting an okay run off the corner here. We'll see if he can maybe make a lunge, but maybe just a bit too far back. Kent still hanging strong in that number 15 as he comes to the bus stop. 7 laps to go. Oh, it looks like something's happened to John Hagan. He lost it to the last corner. That is going to take him out of contention for the victory. He'll re-merge, but he will fall down to a 10th. Whatever Marshall fan you may be arguing, maybe a bit calmer, at least on his radio. Up front, though, pass for the lead. Wansing, goes for a big dive there. We'll have to look it back in a second. We will check that and see in a second what happened. But Wansing now clear to the lead. Feather Place in second. Kent now down to third. And we're going to take a quick look just in a second. We just want to see that move, as we did miss it while we were looking back at the spin for Hagan. We're going to pull it back just a second. We're going to watch his pass for the lead here. Wansing just tries to over-under, hits the bumper a couple times. Oh, that's a very odd situation. Kent then locks it up. Wansing goes through. Didn't spin him, but that's definitely going to be tempers flaring, to say the least. 2 drivers fighting hard for a win. Back up to live action. Wansing in the lead. Feather Place second. Kent now down to third. Again, very odd that pass was. We saw Wansing beat the bumper off Kent. And then we saw Kent kind of lock it up Wansing too. No one ended up around. But you definitely know Kent may not be too happy about that, depending. 6 laps to go. Last time by, I believe Feather Place was faster on track, but obviously that's a given considering the incident between Wansing and Kent. On board with Wansing, let's go on board with Feather Place. Looking at the personal best, Wansing was slightly faster this race over Feather Place, but they're very close on track on times. Neither really was faster than the other ones. It's going to be who can get the better entries and exits and who can minimize mistakes here. You know this corner favors Feather Place, that one we just went through. See if we can keep getting the good runs on. Back to wide shot here. Kent is now 1.6 seconds back, so this is going to be a race between the two of them, probably for the finish. They do come to blows. Kent is a second clear of Feemster, but they're both 1 second back. You see him right there in the shot. Coming to the line this time, 5 laps to go here. That time by, running pure laps, Feather Place was faster. 1:0:21:09 to a 1:21:22 right now. Feather Place beating, banging. Can he get the run he needs off the corner? Not going to be so good, but you can see him. He's basically pushing that 5 through some of these corners here. We also worry there could be fuel concerns with Wansing. Came at 36, 3 laps later, Feather Place. We assume 20 laps is a tank. With the extra caution laps we had, we assume everyone is good to go. We know Feather Place is in that window for sure, but is there enough fuel saved for Wansing? We assume he's good, but we were assuming last week in Iowa. We ended up seeing everyone elect to pit, except Wansing and Vordon. Moving to the bus stop. Again, it seems at 34, we're trying to see who is better where here. Yeah, looking at through off exit, looks like Wansing got a lot better exits to the bus stop there. Coming across the line this time by, again, this seems to be where the other place is better in certain corners, Wansing's better in others. But they seem to balance out. That time by, Wansing was faster. Personal best for Kevin Feemster in third. He's now currently about 1.6 seconds off the podium. That's still belonging to Matthew Kent. Like I said, if they were come to blows, they could open the door for Kent, but Kent is losing time. He's now over 2 seconds back. Other action throughout the field right now. We got Dila trying to get a top 5 from Fleming. Hagan trying to get around Edward Marshall for 8th. We're going to stay on this battle, though. This is for the lead. We do not want to miss anything. 4 laps to go here. It's the 2-time champion against the 2-time regular point season champion. We know how much a win would mean to Wanzing and Midwest Barbecues. They're always here live in this chat. Ready to support Seth. Meanwhile, we know Feather Place as well has yet to find victory in the postseason. Has made the round of 4 the last 2 straight years, but has yet to bring home a win anywhere throughout that postseason. Getting a win here could maybe get that virtual monkey off the back and give him some confidence going into Vegas, New Hampshire, Vegas, and Michigan for the finale. Wanzing doing what he needs to do. That time by, he was a little bit slower, but by a tick, not enough for Feather Place in that 34 to make anything happen. Three laps to go here. Feemster has slowly reeled in Matthew Kent for the last podium spot. We will keep an eye on this as it develops. Right now, Kent comfortably ahead. Going back to the lead. We don't want to miss this. Feemster doing okay, but Feather Place a lot better through that bus stop right there. Closed up that by a couple tenths. If you're a Wanzing supporter right now, you want to see the white flag in a lap and a half time. 2 laps to go. Just hoping everyone keeps it clean. And you can see the flag. Kent now 4.5 seconds back. Even if they come to blows, it's unlikely Kent and Feemster can catch here. It's going to probably be our winner coming from one of these 2 spots. Wanzing last week was really hoping to find W in a spot right now where he can maybe hang on to this. But he also knows he got the bumper used on him last week, and if Feather Place is close enough, he may be inclined to do it again. And if Wanzing gets bumpered back-to-back weeks, it may not be pretty. Bus stop last time by was faster for Feather Place than it was Wanzing. We know 2 laps ago, Wanzing was better. Let's see who gets to the bus stop better this time by. Looks like they were about dead even. Actually, looks like Feather Place got through a little bit slower than Wanzing. Gap is now 7 tenths. Separation beginning to form. And as Wanzing comes to the last corner, he's hoping he can see the white flag, and this race will be official next time by. White flag is out. 1 more lap to go here. Gap is half a second between Wanzing and Feather Place. Does Feather Place have anything left? And if he gets close enough through the bus stop, how aggressive is he electing to be? Obviously, don't want to risk the wrath of the stewards if you can help it, especially in a playoff run, but a win would feel like a weight off the shoulders. This seems to be Feather Place's best spot. He's going to have a move on Wanzing. The door was left open. Feather Place to the lead. Wanzing goes a little bit too deep. Now Wanzing has to answer back here through the bus stop. Can he get the run he needs? Feather Place snuck on by. How aggressive will Wanzing be heading into the bus stop here? He's going to go low. He's going to try to send it. He's on the brakes. Oh, they touch. Oh, Feather Place is around. So is Wanzing. They get it refired. Matthew Kent's coming to the bus stop right now. Speed differential could play a factor here. Back to the lead, though. They've gotten it refired. And Wanzing has over a 7/10 gap here. How aggressive will Feather Place be coming to the line? Through the last couple corners, Wanzing arcs it up. Feather Place tries to put the bumper. It's not enough. Wanzing wins the Charlotte 200. He will bring home victory. Feather Place in second. Feemster going to come home in third, passing Kent on a move I would say is very interesting to say the least, as it looks like something happened there. We'll quickly just rewind So I don't want to miss that. Looks like, yeah, a late move here comes to the line. Kent overcooked it, and Feimster was able to uncorrect it. He will get the last step of the podium. But let's get back to our race leader, Seth Wanzing. Just wanted to show that before we forgot. At the moment, that's the wrong graphic. There it is, your winner at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Obviously, some questions will arise with that move going into the bus stop. It looked like hard racing, and we will take a look, and obviously we'll talk to both Wanzing and Featherplace. We'll hear their thoughts on that last move as well. It looked all right, but at the same point, both drivers fighting hard here. Doesn't look like Featherplace is too angry. It looks like he's even maybe showing a little bit of congratulatoriness here. Yeah, a little tap there. Is it frustration or is it congratulatory? It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. Regardless, though, Feimster are going to come in and give a little shunt, too, as our final podium winner. But Seth Wanzing, a drought that has been a long time coming. Believe his last win was Kentucky in 2023. Is he for Kentucky? No, it wasn't Kentucky. It was Nashville 2023. Or was it Kansas 2023? Regardless, it was 2023. It's been 2 years. Last year, he dealt with technical issues. Plagued him this whole season where he couldn't really get it going. And he's been itching at the door week in and week out. And he's finally found victory again here in this 5 machine, as he's going to rightfully burn it down here. So Seth Wanzing will punch his ticket to the playoffs after last week, especially when he felt like he was a corner away. Maybe not redemption, but at the very least vindication for finding victory this week. So obviously do not go anywhere. We will have top 3 interviews in just a second. We'll take a look at the final results, and then obviously we'll take a quick look at that move first, and then obviously we'll talk over the interviews. We want to let Wanzing have his moment here. Obviously, we'd like to go 1, 2, 3, but we'll give him just a second here. I wouldn't be shocked if he burned. Yeah, he goes till the engine goes. Yep, there. Well, there it went right there. So he went until the engine went. But that is just pure alliteration. Not alliteration. It's jubilation for the driver of the 5. So we'll take a quick look, real fast, at the final results here. Just unofficial here. Wanzing takes victory. Featherplace second. Feimster gets the over-under on Kent. Dila 5th. Fleming 6th, Verdon 7th, Hagen 8th, Battles 9th, Johnson 10th, Marshall last in, McDonough first car out, but will finish 5 down, Markowski, Galloway, actually we'll flip it over to the next page, Baxter, and Gaiman and Baxter round out the top 15. Real fast, before we get to interviews, we'll take a quick look at that last move. Just want to just watch it again, as obviously we saw the encounter here. So we'll play it out one more time just in full here. So we see up here, hard to tell from this angle, but you see Wanzing just goes a little bit too wide in this corner. It opens up the door for Featherplace to go through. Now Wanzing's on the back foot. And this is obviously, 2 drivers fighting hard, and we'll just watch it, because we're going to ask both drivers their opinion in the interviews. We just want to watch it one more time for viewers at home to see. Coming through the bus stop again. Just going hard into the corner. Oh, I don't... It definitely looks like, if we go by F1 rules, obviously you got Hendrick Carr ahead of Wanzing, but at the same point, it looked like he kind of didn't give anything left for Featherplace. Regardless, Bo, that's how they will finish 1-2, at least for now. So we'll now head on to the interviews here. Obviously, we'll start with our race winner, Seth Wanzing. Let's just make sure audio is all good here. It is, so we will get ready and go. So we'll bring in Seth, and we'll hear his thoughts now. Seth, this is Kevin, the ABM booth. Got a copy?
What's up, buddy?
Obviously, you went from dejected last week to over the moon this week, as you're able to find victory here in that number 5 and punch your way into the next round of the playoffs and end over a 2-year drought. But we'll have to start at the beginning before we talk about the victory itself. So, looking at the beginning, obviously you had a fast car, and we talked about last week in the interview at least. You seem to be sneaky fast on road courses. So, what was your secret about the Roval here? As it definitely seemed like you were one of the fastest cars here tonight.
Just laps on it, and honestly, some of the road course guys being gone. But you know, just having lapped this and Watkins Glen are probably my two best. This one's always kind of suited me the best. I don't know why. But figured I was in for a third place night, but came out with a win. So.
Well, we always talk about these road courses. You got to survive the carnage. We saw Gaiman have that incident in stage 2, I believe. And then we also saw Hagen have that spin. You end up finding stage 2 victory. But let's go to the final stage here, because we see with a late caution, we look at the numbers, and we see there's possible chance people can make it on fuel. So we got to ask, because we saw you come in at lap 36 earlier than the rest with the second caution. When you came in, were you good to go to the end, or was there going to be some incredible saving needed to make it to the finish line when you came in at lap 36?
Let's see, 36 to 55. I can make it. That's why I went and topped off there. It was you can make right at 18, 19 laps of fuel. So I knew on lap 36 when pit road opened, we can make it or be darn close. So I went in and topped off, and with the caution laps and the way everything was working out with how long the laps were, it worked out.
It definitely did. And obviously with those cautions, you came in, you topped off, putting the same strategy as you can, and then with another caution, you cycle out to the lead. So we got to talk about this as well. Your pass and battle with Kent there with, I think it was 8 to go. You made that move, and you two were fighting hard. So take us to that battle from your perspective there as you made that move on Kent to take the lead of the race.
Yeah, Matt was doing a really nice job just putting the car where he needed to be. And then from there, he was just checking up so bad in the corners. I knew John was coming. I knew Brandon was coming. I had to go. I don't want to race people like that. I don't want to win how I won tonight, but I had to go with Matt's situation. I was patient. I had tried to avoid him the first 2 laps beforehand, not run over him. And when he was parking it in some of the corners, which he had to, he was doing what he needed to do. I had to go. I had to take the chance when I could.
And it happened. We obviously watched it through replay and watched it again. And it's an interesting situation. Put the bumper, but you kept it both pointing in the right direction. Aggressive for sure, but definitely an interesting move to say the least. But it got you the lead. And then you were looking good. You were keeping times with Feather Place. So I guess we'll go to that one next. Looking at those last laps, you were Feather Place were trading lap times. Feather Place was an inch closer. You were going out. So take us through that battle with Feather Place, and then take us through that last lap as well, as we saw you overcook that corner, and it was you and Feather Place side by side heading into the bus stop.
Yeah. First off, I want to thank Brandon for racing me clean. Me and Brandon are good friends. We're fellow admins. I don't want to win that way. I haven't seen the replay. I knew he was probably a little bit faster, but if I could just hit my marks, I could at least match. And really, I messed up going into what I felt like was my best little portion there of the racetrack where I was gaining time or stabilizing time all night. So slipped up through there, and got behind him. Got a good enough run to where I knew if I could make a lunge in the bus stop, I would. I was going to do it as clean as I could. That's why I went outside. I didn't go inside. And I tried to pinch him, and I pinched him too much. I don't feel like I made any contact on entry, but definitely when I hit the curb there, I'd have to see it. I really don't want to win that way. I definitely got one coming. I know I'm owed one now. So I completely understand. He's going to be pissed, and rightfully so. He's never done that to me. I was desperate for a win. Absolutely desperate. I wanted to try to do it as clean as I could. I had messed up, and my head was like, I still got to go for it. I'm still in position. So I really hate it. I want to be more excited, and I am excited, and I'm happy I want to race. It's been a long, long time. I really could use that right now. It's been some tough times for me, so it's really nice to get a win. Um, but I don't want to do it that way, and especially to a friend. So I apologize to him. I didn't mean for there to be as much contact as there was. I was just trying to pinch him down the best I could, and we just made contact, and I was able to get going first. So
Hmm.
totally expect to get one back. He'll probably get me when it hurts most, and that's gonna suck. But for now, we'll take the win.
Yeah, we'll see how you two settle out. Obviously, we stay impartial here. We'll wait till you obviously look at replay, and we'll see how it all goes. But regardless, though, it was definitely fighting at least to the finish line. Two drivers desperate to get a win, and they both were fighting hard. But looking onward, obviously, with your win, you're obviously locked in. You're already pretty much advancing anyway, even if you didn't take home the checkered. But that win will give you some momentum. But looking onward, we got New Hampshire and Las Vegas next week. Out of those two tracks, which one of those two, which one will provide you the most success to try to join the illustrious Final Four and fight for a championship at Michigan in well over 4 weeks' time?
Probably Vegas. I'm good at both of them, but I've been ran really well at Vegas, ran really strong at Vegas. So probably Vegas.
Alrighty, so we'll keep an eye on Vegas, but obviously he'll probably be strong at both, like you said. But we got to the point of the show. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. I want to thank all my family and friends at home. Um, been I'm not an emotional guy, but it's been a really, really rough past 2 weeks. So it's nice to get a win. Um, really happy about that. Not happy how I did it, but it's nice to get a win. And want to thank Midwest Barbecue, Hooray Grills, County Beverage, Anheuser-Busch, Lee Summit. Um, so yeah, thank you to everybody that helps make this possible, and really excited.
All right, it's been great talking to you, Seth. Go enjoy that victory, and hopefully we talk to you before the season is out. So take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you.
And that was our race winner, Seth Wansing, and that will move us nicely to our second place finisher, Brandon Featherplace. We'll hear his thoughts now. Brandon, this is Kevin the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I do. How you doing?
Doing good. Obviously, you probably have some thoughts about how it finished, but we'll get to that in due time. So we'll at least start at the beginning. Obviously, you put the car on front row, and it looked like, again, you're one of those drivers that in recent years, obviously with Norman and a few others being road course ringers, you haven't really flexed your muscle, but we know you were decent at the road courses. So with Norman and a few others not here, how did your mindset change coming into tonight if we know that you were in contention to be up for a race victory here at the Roval? So how was your mindset going the Roval tonight, and do you think it's a track it played into your strengths?
I always look forward to the road courses. I think they're a nice, they're just a nice change from the normal ovals, and they kind of make you have to, they're more technical. You really have to pay attention to what you're doing and, and be a little nicer to the car, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
as a lot of people figured out tonight. But, I, I don't know. It just seems like I have a lot of pace at road courses, but it never seems to equate to anything else. I mean, I think my first win in A squared was at Watkins Glen a couple seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't won since at a road course, I don't believe. So,
My history would be correct, but obviously, again, with a lot of strong road course ringers, even Zach Millett on your own team definitely,
yeah,
puts you in a spot where it may be a bit tougher to find victory on the road courses. But yeah, I don't think you
right,
found success since that win at Watkins Glen.
right. And it's really nice to get these really fast guys in here. I feel like it makes us all better. The faster they are, the better we all can get. But yeah, the talent is definitely stepped up at the road courses.
Mm-hmm. Looking onward, obviously we saw in the first second stage you were just kind of quietly there, keeping going. Hagen obviously wins Actually, Hagen pitted in the second stage. You won the second stage. First stage, you were just kind of running around third. So heading into the final stage, because obviously stage 2 victory was yours. I'll ask that question. Were you thinking about coming in the second stage and trying to do what Wansing and Hagen did? Or did you want to win the stage glory for yourself?
I just kind of wanted to win the stage. I mean, you know, I noticed that a lot of people, flipped the stage, and I knew Seth had to from the get-go,
Yeah,
because he stayed out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I kind of just thought, well, I mean, we're gonna have to pit anyway. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of flipping the stage. I guess it's, kind of at my detriment a little bit sometimes, not doing that strategy, but I've just never really found it to work out for me. So I don't generally do that very often. So I kind of just wanted to stay out and win the stage and, kind of stay with it that way.
And then obviously you came in under the pit stop under yellow, came in, recycled, and then you were in a good spot. And then we saw with the second caution, Wanzing, Hagen, everyone else pulls in, and you're left on an island alone and on an off sequence. Did you get baited out, or was that your general strategy? You were going to stay out there regardless of what everyone else did?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was sleeping, like I was not paying attention at all. So even if I wanted to come in, I wasn't even prepared to even come down pit road. But I was too busy talking to Bax, who apparently wrecked out earlier. So
Yeah.
I was talking to him, and then just completely lapsed on what I was doing. But at the same time, I knew we weren't gonna make it, so I really wasn't even thinking about pitting at that moment. Because I mean, even if we pit, I didn't think we could make it. So I think that was like 20 to go, and we got like 18 and a half on a fuel tank. So
we did hear from Wanzing that he was good when he came in and topped off there. So it did seem like it was, when we estimated 20 laps was the window, so it was close. And obviously, though, the cautions came out late enough that obviously you came in the second time and then recycled the fifth with a restart. So obviously it didn't hurt you in the end with another caution. So let's go through those last 15 laps. Obviously, you start in fifth, you get around Falco, you're behind Wanzing, and then obviously you both get around Kent, and it's you and Wanzing battling for the win there. So let's just, take us through your battle with Wanzing, and obviously take us to that final lap from your perspective.
Well, with about, I don't know, about 5 to go, like I said, I had Bax in my ear, and he was just, kind of informing me on how things were going, his lap times, my lap times, where I excelled, where he was beating me at. So I knew I had the faster car. And so for me, it was, this is a cutoff race, so don't do anything stupid. Don't kill Seth, and let's finish this thing strong. Let's try and pressure Seth enough to make a mistake. And so, I kind of just drove a little bit, and as Ross was telling me, I mean, he had the speed out of the bus stop. So I knew that was the worst part of the track for me. And so, everywhere else I was gaining. And, on the last lap there, coming to the end, I guess I had pressured him enough that he made the mistake. And I passed him. I never touched him. I never roughed him up. I never moved him. Never did anything to him. And passed him fair and square. The same amount of respect that I would expect back, because I have a lot of respect for Seth. And as we go into the bus stop, I guess I just left enough room that he figured I'm going to win this race any way that I can, and 8 tires are better than 4 through the bus stop. So I have a lot of things that I would like to say that I'm not going to say on your broadcast, but I can definitely say we're definitely going to have a conversation about this race, that last lap, because I wasn't going to do that to him, and I haven't done that to him this whole time. So I didn't expect it. But hey, it's the playoffs, and now I know to expect that. So he's not going to be getting any more easy passings from now on. This is now cutthroat.
Yeah, we've seen you be cutthroat, obviously, with Kent and a few others. We definitely know what a cutthroat feather place can be, and it wouldn't be shocked to see that come out. Obviously, just if you didn't hear the previous interview, Wanting did apologize at the very least, but obviously we'll let you two talk it out, and he says he knows one is coming. So obviously we'll let you two talk that out and let you both see the replays. But looking onward, obviously, with your finishes here last week, you are through, more than likely, as obviously we don't have the full math, but safe to assume you've made it to the next round, so congratulations. Looking onward, we got Vegas and New Hampshire and Las Vegas. Out of those two tracks, which one you think provides you the best success to punch your ticket to the round of 4?
Right now my mindset is all of them. Every track that we start at, I'm going to give it everything I got, so they need to watch out.
Hey, that's a positive mindset to have. Make sure, be good at both tracks and not leave anything to chance. Anyway, we got to the point of the show. So anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you? Floor is yours. Take it away.
First and foremost, I need to thank my team, Bill Esports. These guys are so much fun to race with. And, Ross Baxter definitely for hanging out after he made that mistake and was wrecked. So big thanks to him for hanging out with me. Big thanks to ABN for this entire season and the rest of the playoffs for all that y'all do. And my fellow admins, thank you to them, minus Seth Wansing. But
Cannot expect
but
it, I
just
guess.
thanks to Race Control and just thanks to everyone who watches these races. It's really cool to go back and watch the broadcast and kind of see everyone comment and stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up so you can talk to Feem.
Yeah, I know Feemster's definitely itching, and we've kept him waiting, but we'll be getting to him next. So obviously it's been great talking to you. Enjoy the next 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll be talking to you for the season's end, and hopefully we'll be seeing you in the Final Four. So take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you, you too.
And that was our second place finisher, Brandon Featherplace, and that leaves us with one left. Obviously, he's been waiting a while for getting a podium and a while to get talked to, but we'll talk to him now. Kevin Feemster, your third place finisher. Kevin, this is ABM Booth. Got a copy of Kevin. You're here?
I'm here. Yeah, the claps say it all, don't
yeah,
they?
claps do say it all. Obviously, you fought hard to get that podium. We've seen the last couple weeks itching closer to getting it, and you finally at least got the podium. Now, next step, obviously, get a win, but a podium is definitely good. But we'll start at the beginning as well. So you qualified, I believe, 8th, so middle of the pack. You're not usually a driver we see, like you do all right at the road course, but it's not someone we have overly circled. So mindset coming into the Roval tonight, did you think, obviously, I assume you thought you were going to do good regardless, because obviously you have that mindset. But how did the track feel to you? Do you think it's, when practicing, a track that you could get a win or at least a podium at?
No. I struggled. I struggled hard in practice, struggled in qualifying. I had no rhythm at the beginning of the race, wrecked at Bennett. Somehow, I think I got a 4th in one of the stages. I think it was based off pit strategy from in front of me. But
stage.
No, I didn't really envision myself in getting the podium tonight. Once that last restart, happened, I started to finally get a rhythm. So it kind of came into me there, and heck of a battle with Kent. He kind of just overdrove that last corner. If not, he'd be here and I won it. So yeah, I wasn't expecting a win or a podium tonight at all.
Hey, sometimes we talked about in the pre-race, sometimes it's about survival and hanging on. And you kept the car clean and took advantage when every other driver was having misfortune. Looking onward, like you said, you got your podium. You got a 4th place in stage 2. Final stage happens, and we saw you come in at lap 31, I believe, or 32, give or take. And we saw you come in, and now we saw you come again at 35. But when you pitted at 32, was it just to get off sequence? You knew, hey, I'm not going to make it? Or were you thinking, is there a chance? Because we were kind of assuming up in the booth, there may be a chance you may try to stretch it. So when you came in at 32 the first time before you came in again, was it a chance you were going to try to make it to the end? Or was it just I'm coming in just to make sure everything's okay kind of pit stop?
Yeah, that first time I pitted, it was, okay, I'm pitting here. I was already kind of saving with how I was driving anyway. So I knew I could get 19, 20, 21 if I really saved hard. But then when that next one came out, it's like, all right, I can go now. I really didn't. I was 5 to the good or 6 to the good at the end of that race after that last pit stop. So yeah, that first one was a strategy to get off sequence, just in case we went green, and I think I would have made it. I'm pretty sure I would have, at least.
We assumed, because that was the second pit stop we heard from Wansing, the numbers were good, and we at Featherplay assumed it was one more later. So we assumed by the second one you're going to top off, you'd probably be all right, but there were still questions. But regardless, though, strategy played out, got you the track position. And then, obviously, you were talking about your battle with Kent, so let's look at that real fast. Obviously, while we were focused on our leaders, you were slowly itching closer and closer to Kent. So once Kent got passed by the two, both Wansing and Featherplay. So take us to those last couple laps, you and Kent, and obviously that move you made as with Kent overcooking the corner, you were able to over-under him. So take us to that battle with Kent you had with the last, 5 laps to go.
Yeah, it was really fun. Kent was better than me in some sections, and I was better than him in other sections. So we kind of had that yo-yo effect. I'd get to him, especially in the inner. I could catch him in the inner part of the track pretty well. He had me beat a little bit on that first bus stop. and we kind of even everywhere else. But we got down to like three to go. I'm like, okay, I think we're probably running comparable laps at this point. So I kind of figured I'm just going to stay consistent, which is what I did. Just kept running my line, hitting my points, and then it's just hoping that he made a mistake somewhere, which he ended up doing, and I just took advantage of it.
You
Just
definitely did.
kept myself consistent. Yeah.
Yep, we definitely did. We obviously went back and looked at it real fast, and yeah, you definitely took advantage and got the last step of the podium. I think it's your first podium since Atlanta, the one that Sears, I think, won well over 2 years ago, but definitely still a well-deserved podium as we've seen you week in and week out move forward. So speaking of looking at the next 2 weeks, obviously not in the playoffs, but still looking to be a spoiler, between New Hampshire and Las Vegas, which of the two tracks do you think plays in your hands the most to get either another podium or even find victory in that number 17?
New Hampshire, I'll be okay at. Some of my best tracks are those, smaller tracks that kind of feel like a short track. The last couple weeks have kind of worked in my advantage until tonight. I just kind of had some misfortune a couple weeks in a row before tonight. So I think I'll be all right in New Hampshire. Vegas, is that the one after New Hampshire?
Yes.
Vegas?
Mhm.
Yeah, Vegas and mile and a half in these cars, it's just it can almost, that first 20 laps is probably going to feel like like a mini super speedway, and then tires will start to, even out and wear out. I think I'll do all right there. I'm not trying to break the mold or anything like that. I'm just trying to come out and have fun and be consistent on my finishing spots for the rest of the season. I don't want to mess anybody up, or I'll play spoiler though. Don't get me wrong. If there's a win, I'm taking it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just
Obviously,
trying to stay consistent the rest of the season.
Yeah, obviously don't want to dump anyone, don't want to make enemy number one. At the same point, you definitely want to get a win in that win column. Obviously, we got to the point of the show, so anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you. Floor is yours. Take it away.
Oh yeah, I mean, first shout out and thank you all for broadcasting. It's a long season. It's a lot of broadcasting, a lot of talking, so a lot of names to remember as well. I gotta thank ARCS. I've been here for 5 years now, racing with these fools, and it's been a blast. A lot of us are close friends now, so it's really neat. I thank my wife for putting up with me, letting me drive these. I got to thank Mama Duck's Kitchen. It's a local in Van Buren, Indiana. A little tiny small kitchen, and food and trinkets and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool to have them on the car tonight. Yeah, that's about. I got to thank my teammates. I mean, we've had some crap luck with gaming, and LaJoy couldn't make it tonight, and Colin had some issues tonight, but I couldn't ask for a better group of drivers that are under me, so I got to thank them as well. But yeah, that's about it.
All right, it's been great talking to you, Kevin. Obviously, hopefully we talk to you before season's out and you get another podium or even a win. But regardless, you take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Have a good night.
And that was our third place finisher, Kevin Feemster. And with that, we'll finish up the interviews here. Obviously, a little bit longer of a road course than what we're usually able to go through, as obviously with a little extra cautions there, broke a road course caution record. But let's take a look at the final results one more time. Wansing takes the W. There's going to be some tension with Wansing and Feather Place. Hopefully they can work it out. But obviously, knowing how things work out, we even quote Wansing, something may be coming. But obviously, keep an eye on that. Feemster next. Kent rounds out fourth. Good run for Kent. And Mark D, let's give him a round of applause, too, as he obviously had some couple scratches, got some big incidences, and he was able to bring home the car in fifth by just surviving. Same thing with Fleming. We thought his day was done with that contact possibly when he had it with Galloway, but ended up keeping the car clean. Vordon, 7th. Hagen, 8th. Battles, 9th. Another driver that just survived. Hey, that's all you can ask sometimes. And Brian Johnson rounds out the top 10 with Marshall, 11th, the last of the finishers. McDonough pulled it off late, but will get credit for 12th. Then Markowski had a disconnection issue. Galloway obviously broke the toe length. And then looking on to the rest of the results here, obviously Gaiman also broke a toe length. And Ross Baxter had a disconnection wheel issue or something, and it took him out of contention regardless. So that will do it for that here tonight. Obviously, we're not fully sure where the points lie. Again, my hypothetical guess is that the 8 drivers through are Hagen, Feather Place, Marshall, Vordon. Obviously, Vordon and Hagen, Vordon and Wansing because they won. Then Hagen, Feather Place, Marshall, Fleming. I believe then we're going to count Battles, and then I think the last one in is Markowski, because I think he's gotten stage points the last 2 weeks. I don't think Galloway did, but Galloway also crashed that late. So obviously that's up for the points to decide. We'll hopefully have updated points next week, but I feel confident in 7 of the 8. We'll just see if Markowski or Galloway takes the last seat of the table, and we fighting next week in New Hampshire for the title. Speaking of next week, obviously we're at New Hampshire, same time, 7 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully we can see you there, and obviously I want to get on out of here. So thank you for all tuning in. Hope we see you next week.